Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week we have 13 watches on the table for you guys and girls, ranging from brand new, unworn, modern limited editions to vintage awesomeness. We really have something for everyone this week, like every week. That's what we try and do for you guys and girls. Now I want to start off obviously by saying all these watches are listed below. There's timestamps so you can skip to the specific watch you want to see. There's also a link to the website so you can purchase said watch or have a look at the extra images in the description and decide whether you want to purchase. Now that that's out of the way, I do want to say a big thank you. You guys and girls have been absolutely amazing. These past few weeks have been getting less and less as me being in the office has become less and less. And I've been in and out and sort of sporadic, in some days, out some days, in for a couple of hours, gone. And that's because, as a lot of you know, and I say it every week, but I'm going to keep saying it because it's important to reiterate for those of you now just seeing this video. My wife is heavily pregnant. We're closing in on the end and we're getting close to my daughter being here, which is absolutely amazing. We are unfortunately having a few complications, nothing too drastic, and both my wife and daughter are okay. That's the main thing. However, it does mean there's lots of monitoring, lots of trips to the hospital. For example, we're shooting this on Wednesday and I didn't get back from the hospital until 1 a.m. in the morning. So I am feeling quite tired, so I apologise if I'm starting to slur my words and not being as concise as I usually am. But yeah, so it just means there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of appointments that we're booking in I am having to reschedule or cancel altogether. Now the ones that can still be done, as in everything's prefaced before, we can get Danny to actually hold the meeting, and he's done that a few times already, so I want to say a big thank you to him. He's keeping things going here, and obviously we're still shipping out, everything's still going as planned. So rest assured the business will keep going regardless of me being in and out or whatever it may be. However, it does mean if you email and you want to come and view a watch, we're probably going to go through everything on the email before booking the appointment. As in, is it possible to ship you the watch? And if you don't like it, you return it. We offer a returns period. Ideally, we don't want to utilize that. So if it's a modern watch that you can go try on somewhere, go try it on, make sure it's for you, then purchase from us and we'll get it shipped out. Secondly, we'll go for any negotiations. If you want a part X, you have to say that ahead of time, because if you just turn up and I can't be in and Danny's in and you start giving him watches to part X, he's not going to take them in because I'm not here to assess them and give you a price. So just keep that in mind. Be as considerate as you can to go through any questions you have beforehand, just to make it more streamlined and more easy for everyone involved, and most importantly, easier for you. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's crack on with what's on the table. Actually, before we do that, what's on wrist? I am wearing the Amiga Moonswatch again. I'm really loving this. I think in this kind of heat, and for those of you that don't know, we just had record-breaking heats yesterday, Tuesday, as of the time we're recording this video. It reached over 40 degrees in some places, which was insane. And it was probably 39-ish here in London. It was very, very hot. And this watch has proven perfect for the heat. It's really comfortable, haven't got to worry about it. Some people have said they're worried about wearing it with sweats because of the case back leaking. Haven't had any of that, so it's been perfectly fine. And I actually just ordered another one, so it's coming very, very soon. It's like the sandy coloured one. Can't remember which one that is, but it's the one I wanted. So I'll have that soon. I've got some fitted rubber straps on the way as well. I think I'm going to have a few of these, so I'm really enjoying them. Now let's get on to what's on the table. And we're going to start with the limited edition Bremont and Bamford edition. Really, really cool stealth watch. Let's take a closer look. So starting off this week with a limited edition, brand new, unworn Bremont and Bremont and Bamford limited edition of 250 pieces in this black DLC coated case, which looks fantastic. It is a really good looking watch. I think they've done a really good job. It's not my personal taste, as in something I would personally wear, but I can really appreciate it, and I can see the kind of market they're going for with this. It's very much Bamford, and you know, I like that Bamford is sticking to their guns with their design. People really love it. And I think it's good that other brands are sort of playing around, if you will. You know, we've seen the G-Shock, we've obviously got this Bremont, and there's been others as well. I believe Zenith, Tag Heuer with the Monaco. So, you know, Bamford are doing great things, and they're doing it to their design cue, which I really like. And it's great to see a Bremont in that same design. Obviously, this is the S500 range, which has the crown over at 2 o'clock. As I say, limited edition of 250, and it has one of their automatic calibers, which is a super long name. I'm not going to bore you with it. You can go check that out on the website. And this one is from June 2022, full box and papers, unworn, everything as you'd expect, but they're show on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. You can see it's certainly not a small watch, but it wears really, really well. This is 43mm by 51mm lug to lug, 16.5mm thick, which is very, very thick. However, it does wear the thickness relatively well considering, so do keep that in mind. And 22mm lugs, endless options, although this strap is wonderful. Once you've worn it in, because obviously it's unworn at the moment, it will be very, very comfortable on the wrist. So go check this one out on the website today. From there, we're going to go to one of my favorite modern Breitlings, and I think it's incredible. I think Breitling have really knocked it out of the park with this one, and that is the Pistachio. Let's take a closer look. So it's Pistachio time with the Breitling Premier B09 chronograph. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is one of my favourite releases from Breitling recently, and I think if they keep going in this direction, their future is again very bright. For me, I think Breitling has sort of lost the plot a little bit in recent years, sort of since the early 2000s, but it's starting to regain itself. It's starting to really look at its heritage and produce some really wonderful watches. Vintage Breitlings are fantastic, especially the Chronos from the 60s and 70s onwards. I think they're wonderful. Obviously, you've got the Navi Timer, forever classic, but for me, I prefer stuff like this, and I think the Premier line is going to be amazing if they continue going in this kind of manner. I won't bore you with the reference to this one. It's a very, very long one. You can go see it on the website. And one thing I absolutely love about this, once we crack this open, is behind there. That is one good-looking movement, and I think they've done a really good job, because most brands would just jump on the bandwagon and make a huge chronograph and make it automatic, adding to the thickness, whereas Breitling with this model kept it manually wound and kept it 40mm as well. It wears incredibly well. What you're looking at there is a manually wound Breitling caliber B09, a wonderful chronograph movement, and this one's from November 2021. It does come with its full box and paperwork, and it's in wonderful condition. A couple of stickers still on the clasp, and the watch has been worn, but it's been very lightly worn. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better condition pre-owned one at our kind of price as well. But they show it on wrist and taut dimensions. How good on wrist does that look? It sits so perfectly. I think this is the kind of watch that works on big wrists, but also works on small wrists. It gives the illusion of being bigger because it's all dial, but it really wears so well. And for those of you who haven't figured out, it's called Pistachio because of the colour of the dial. But this is 40mm by 46mm lug to lug, really well done. 13mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of the strap. It's the only thing that lets it down for me personally. I'm not a fan of how this strap looks or feels, but I think a nice brown suede, obviously, would look fantastic on this. So go check it out on the website today and pick yourself up this watch and a strap tailor suede, and we can put it straight on for you. From there, we've got 3 Tudors on the table. We're going to start with what is actually my favourite Tudor. I think it's fantastic, and I wish they made it a little bit thinner, but other than that, it is so perfect, and that is the Heritage Chrono. This one's unworn 2022 full set, so let's take a closer look. So next up, the Tudor Heritage Chrono, one of my favorites. I think this watch looks so good, and obviously I'm going to think that because I love the original Monte Carlos. I think they're beautiful, the proportions, everything about them is fantastic. I just wish they were more affordable, because the prices have gone insane on those, whereas these have stayed relatively, affordable. They've certainly come up in price as people have started to realize just how great this watch is and how much value is in here for a chronograph from Tudor on heritage design as well. I think this is almost a sleeper hit within the Tudor range, in my opinion, and rumoured to be discontinued soon, which makes this 2022 fully stickered, well, stickered as much as they sticker them, box and papers and everything like that. It makes it a wonderful purchase. But this is the reference 70330N, and this one's from June 2022 with its full box and papers. As you can see, it's still got its stickers on the clasp. It's a full-size bracelet as you'd expect. Stickers still on the case back. Again, just wonderful condition, and a wonderful watch. And inside this, beating away, is the automatic Tudor caliber T401. It's basically a modified ETA or Solita, if I'm not mistaken. Quite heavily modified. Tudor don't just slap it in as you'd expect. But yeah, it's wonderful. Let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. Again, this is where this watch really shines for me. It's not small and it is thick, but it wears so well. and I think it just looks great on the wrist, especially on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. I think it fits really comfortably. This is 42mm by 50mm lug to lug, right on that 50mm sweet spot I always go on about. Only 12.5mm thick, so whilst it does look thick, it's actually not that thick. It's just slab-sided, which is something Tudor have been infamous for until recent years. They've started to actually tackle that problem, which I'm glad for. And you've got 22mm lugs, so endless options, although it does come on the bracelet, and I think that's wonderful. So go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to the Black Bay Chrono, and this one's watch only, which makes it an incredible bargain for those of you who don't care about box and papers and just really want to wear the watch and enjoy it. Jesus, I can't get my words out today. Let's take a closer look at this one. So if you've been wanting just the watch and you don't care about box and papers and you want to save yourself some money, this is the perfect opportunity for this watch. This is the Tudor Black Bay Chrono with the steel bezel black dial. This was one of the first chronos they did in this range, before obviously upgrading it to the more recent ones with the Panda and Reverse Panda, which look fantastic as well. But this one will always be a classic in my mind. This is the reference 79350. Inside is the automatic Tudor caliber MT5813, which is based on the Breitling B09 movement. They did a movement swap, basically, Breitling and Tudor. For those of you that know your history, it does come with its bracelet. It is short 2 links, so do keep that in mind, or 3 links, I can't remember. Check the website, I've put it on there exactly. It's 2 or 3. You can see on there to know for definite. But again, just a really good looking watch. Condition is worn, so you're getting yourself something you haven't got to worry about. You put on, you enjoy, and you take it around the block. This is one of those watches that really can take a beating, and it can be used for every day as well. It's from circa 2018. As I say, no box, no paperwork, probably lost in a move or whatever it could be. There's multiple factors for it. Rest assured, it's run against the watch stolen register as well, and you'll get a copy of that, so you know it's definitely all good, all kosher, everything's perfect. So let's show it on the wrist and toward dimensions. And here we go on wrist. As you can see, it just fits my wrist with the links in and the clasp extended. So if you have a bigger wrist than my just shy of 7-inch wrist, you are going to need extra links, which can be had either from Tudor or you might be able to find some pre-owned on eBay. So do keep that in mind. It's 41.5mm by 50.5mm lug to lug, 14.5mm thick and 22mm lugs. So if you want it and you want to throw it on a strap anyway, you can obviously do so. But go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least of the Tudors, we have the Hydronaut II, a watch you guys and girls may have seen before from us. I think it's so cool, and the value for money is insane on this. So let's take a closer look. We often talk about value for money at Kibble Watches, and rightfully so. It's one of the things we sort of pride ourselves on, and little gems like this really speak to that value for money. Something like this automatic ETA 2824 Tudor, you know, it just ticks all the boxes. A dive watch, pre-Black Bay, because it's circa 2008, 2009. It is watch only, it is short some links, but again, all of this under £1,500. I just think you can't go wrong when it comes to value for money in something like this, and I know a lot of you guys and girls will totally agree, and I suspect this one should fly off the shelf fairly quickly, especially as Tudor's starting to gain more recognition and sort of credit where credit is due. These kind of watches are of a period where Tudor wasn't really about. We didn't really know about it in the Western market, certainly. So, you know, the Hydronaut II range, you just don't see many of them, and when you do, they're either very really worn, or they're a bit more hideous because they did some really horrible examples. Whereas this one's borderline. I think it looks really great, and I think it's very much of its time, but in a good way. I know some people aren't a fan of this sort of aggressive bezel, but I think it looks really good. I think it suits the design, and I think it's a good looking watch. So this is the reference 70030. As you can see, it does come on its original Tudor bracelet, which is super comfortable, by the way, and inside is an automatic ETA 2824. As I say, the watch is circa 2008 to 2009. Let's show it on wrist and toward dimensions. And here we go on my wrist. Now, I have, as I say, just shy of a 7-inch wrist. I would probably move the clasp up 1 to get a much more comfortable fit, so that gives you an idea on the size. Finding links for this will be difficult. Maybe Tudor still have them, so get in contact if you do need a bigger bracelet. But 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 10.5mm thick, so incredibly thin, and sits really nice and low on the wrist. 21mm lugs, which is a little bit awkward, but there are straps out there, so go check this one out on the website today. And now we have 2 Unimatics, and we're going to start with the Spongebob, a limited edition of 50. I think it's really funky. If you're into this sort of thing, I think it's a lot of fun, so let's take a closer look. Next up is Spongebob SquarePants. Yes, you heard that right, there is Spongebob on a dial. Bet you never thought you'd see that. So this is the Unimatic Spongebob limited edition of 50 watches, specifically the U1SS. Now, it was made for the anniversary, I believe the 25th anniversary of SpongeBob. It could have been the 20th anniversary. See on the website for all the specific details. A lot of what you hear on the video is off the cuff. I do have a little spreadsheet with like references and movements stated, but other than that, I don't have much more detail. So a lot of it is just going off the cuff. So do see the website for the accurate details. Anyway, so limited to 50 pieces, which is quite low for Unimatic, and this is of a period where they were still using Seiko movement. So inside is the Seiko NH35A, a very reliable movement. As you can see, you've got a really fun SpongeBob sort of, I don't know what you'd call that, but really cool graphic on the back. Almost like a mugshot, right? You know, like a lineup, which is kind of funny. Circa 2019, it does come with its full box and paperwork, and it's in very, very good condition. No signs of wear on the black case, which is very important. As you can see, the dial, it's quite difficult to see, but that's kind of the charm with these Unimatics. I know many customers who own them who just say they are fashion watches in a way that are built to sort of collector standards with automatic movements, very good build quality, all of that sort of jazz, if you get what I mean. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. I have SpongeBob on my wrist. That's something I never thought I'd say. So this is 41mm by 48.5mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 22mm lugs. If you're not a fan of this SpongeBob yellow strap, what's wrong with you? But there's a spare strap in the box, and at 22mm there's endless options as well. So go check it out on the website today. And now on to a very early U1 from 2017. This is a limited edition of 50. It's one of the very first sort of releases, because I believe they started in 2016 off the top of my head. Could be wrong with that one, but let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, one of the early Unimatics. This is the U1DL from circa 2017. What a great watch. Limited edition of 50 pieces, which again is fairly low for Unimatic. And the bezel is very difficult to capture, but it's a metallic blue that almost looks black in most lights. Same with the dial, it's actually a blue dial, but again, looks black in most lights, and it's paired on this nice blue, very dark blue strap. Everything is blue, but it looks black, and then in certain lights, it goes crazy blue. Look at that, really fun. I really like these older models. I think the cases are a bit nicer, personally. However, obviously the new ones with the Solita movements are a bit thinner, but I really like these cases. It's all brushed, very good looking watch. And again, if you're a fan of Unimatic, or you just want something a bit more simple from Unimatic without SpongeBob on the dial, this is a good option. So as I say, 2017 box and papers, Seiko NH35A inside, and it's the reference U1DL limited edition of 50. Let's show on wrist and tour dimensions. And here you go, exactly the same as the SpongeBob in dimensions, 41mm by 48.5mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 22mm lugs. So go check this one out on the website today. Next up is one from the personal collection I'm going to be sad to see go, but I'm just shuffling things around and just getting what I really am going to wear a lot. And I did wear this one a lot for a while, but I think it's better it's going to go to a new home, and that is the Mido Wyoming. I think it's so cool in slate grey. Let's take a closer look. Next up is one I think will be gone before it even gets to the website, to be honest. This is my personal Mido Multi-Fort Power Wind Super Automatic Oversized Wyoming model. That's a long mouthful, but this is a really awesome automatic 1950s watch from Mido in 37.5mm, which for even the 1970s would have been considered quite big. So for the 1950s, it truly was oversized. And look at that dial, slate grey with that beautiful texture on it. And those indices and those hands. This is the kind of watch where I'm really going to regret selling it, but if it ever comes back, I'll probably keep it again for a while. It's one of those watches, just so good. You've got the recessed Mido sign crown over there, the original nut caseback, and something to mention on the caseback whilst we're on it, as you can see, it has sort of corroded, and this is because a sticker was left on, I believe the original sticker, when I got the watch, and obviously I took that off, and you can see what it did to the caseback. So just be aware, if you're buying stuff with stickers on, the glue or the adhesive glue, especially in the olden days, was clearly abrasive to metal. I think nowadays they know what they're doing, you know, they wouldn't put something on that's going to tarnish it, but back in the 50s or even the 70s or whenever it may be, they didn't. So do keep that in mind. It's great to have stickers on it, but not if it causes damage to the watch like this, which is a shame, but the watch is still absolutely gorgeous and still perfectly wearable. The reference is the 1801, inside is the automatic Mido caliber 917 PC, and as I say, it's from the 1950s, and let's show it on wrist and tour dimensions. And here we go, paired beautifully on this grey suede. That's why I wore it on personally, and I would I recommend keeping an eye on it because it just looks so good. This is 37.5mm by 45mm look to look, only 11mm thick and 18mm lugs. Truly revolutionary sizes for the era. You've got to think 1950s, they just weren't making watches this big in general, especially all dial dress watches with a fancy dial like that and a date. I mean, find better for the price. I just don't think you can. So go check it out on the website today. Next up, I've managed to get my hands on another linen dial Seamaster. I'm always after these, so if you guys and girls have any, let me know. Always interested in buying. And we managed to buy this one very fair, so we're able to offer it very fair as well. When we buy it at a good price, we like to give that price back to you, the buyer, and offer it as such. And this is a perfect example of that. So let's take a closer look. So another one, and what a good looking watch it is. The Amiga Seamaster 600 with a gorgeous linen dial. I'm always after these watches, so if you've got them, let me know. But this one has the really nice gold tone markers and hands with the black onyx on the inside. It contrasts beautifully against that dial, which is quite difficult to capture. It has got a really nice texture, which in certain lights shows up far better than in others. But it's just a good looking little dress watch at 34mm. I think this is the epitome of what Amiga was doing back in this era, which is 1964 that this one's from. You can see you've got the Hippocampus Seamaster on the case back. Overall condition is very nice. It has been polished, but it's been kept nice, true and original, and the hands and the dial are the most important on this one. It's the reference 135011, and inside is the manually wound Amiga caliber 601. And as I say, it's from circa 1964. And it is in great condition. Let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. I think that looks so good on the wrist at 34mm by 40mm lug to lug, only 8.5mm thick, so incredibly thin, and 18mm lugs. We've got it paired on this nice brown padded strap, which I think really complements the watch and looks at home. Go check it out on the website today. Next, we're going to go on to a Seiko Shogun, which was a different watch because we got the wrong one out. So excuse the sort of weird transition, but there we go. We're going to take a look at this awesome watch in titanium, pre-pro specs as well. Let's take a closer look. Next up, the Seiko Shogun, probably one of the biggest and most aggressive looking Seikos that happens to wear still insanely well on the wrist. I don't know how Seiko do it, but the bigger their watches get, the more comfortable they seem to get, because you've got to think the Turtle of 45mm, in my opinion, is one of the most comfortable Seikos they produce, and this is definitely up there as well. So this is the Seiko Shogun pre-pro specs, and what that means is it doesn't have pro specs stated on the dial, and it's the same reference they also made with pro specs. So this is the SBDC007. Inside is the automatic Seiko caliber 6R15, and this one is fully titanium, titanium case and titanium bracelet. Just got the bracelet stuck there, but there you go. Open it up. It does come with all of its links as well, and it's from September 2011 with its box and paperwork and spare links, and also I believe unworn black rubber strap as well in there, which is great to see. These have become collectible, and rightfully so. You know, these pre-pro specs, they really didn't make that many of them, and I also think the dials are much cleaner personally. Some people prefer the pro specs little logo on the dial. I think these older generations look far better, but again, that's personal preference. You be the decider of that. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. Look at that, it just hugs the wrist perfectly. I don't know how Seiko do it, but this is 43.5mm lug to lug and 43.5mm, sorry, case size, 51mm lug to lug, which is over the 50mm sweet spot. But I really, I've got to be honest, it wears comfortable. 13.5mm thick and 22mm lugs with drilled lug holes to swap out the strap, nice and easy, although I think on the bracelet it looks at home. But go check this one out on the website today. Next up, we have some awesome vintage jump hours. These are always quite difficult to get. Conditions are usually varying. The movements aren't particularly that great most of the time, so when we get them, we like to make sure they're good quality, good condition, and also movements are serviceable, and we've had checked over, serviced, any work done that is required, and these three are exactly that. So we're going to start with the Sakura Instalite, a very interesting watch. Let's take a closer look. So next up, we have the Sakura Instalite. This is not a watch you see often. It says electronic, however the mechanical part is the jump hour, so that's still a mechanical jump hour. So if I take the crown out, as you can see, that's how it works. Those are the minutes as they get past 55. There you go, 11 o'clock. And so on and so on. That's how a jump hour works. It's really cool. Digital display before digital was really a thing, which I think is absolutely awesome. And you can see you've got these 3 holes up there and a button. Now if we press that, it's going to be quite difficult to see in the light, but there you go, you can see the light come on. Now something to keep in mind, these had sort of LED, small like little bulb in there, which often break. This is correct, it is working, there is the light in there. Not all of them will show up because of where the light is positioned. That's something to just keep in mind. A lot of people think it's not working correctly, but it is. And what it does is, in the dark, it helps you see the dial, and it does actually go quite bright, so you can actually see the numbers. Really, really cool. You've got the 2 screws on the back for the batteries, and obviously the case back where the movement's inside as well. It is a chrome case, so it has got some signs of wear and chrome plating coming off, especially on the case back. But overall, it's very, very good, and you just don't see them come up like this often. We've put it on a nice blue strap as well, which I think looks right at home on it. And again, just a fun manually wound watch from the circa 1970s. They're short on wrist and tall dimensions. And there we go. Again, this is where the watch really shines in my opinion. It's a very big vintage 1970s kind of design, and it looks really cool. So this is 39mm by 43.5mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. So if you're not a fan of the strap pairing, you can swap it out onto pretty much anything. So go check it out on the website today. Next up, we're going to go to the Sakura TV case with the blue dial. Really awesome jump hour. Let's take a closer look. Next up is another really awesome Sakura jump hour. You can see you've got the applied logo down there at 6 o'clock, and you have your spinning second hand. So you actually have an indicator of the seconds. You've got the hours over there. You've got a date, surprisingly, at 3 o'clock, and then you have your minutes at 12. And again, the way it works is exactly the same as before. You pull out the crown, and as you progress, the hour jumps along. And as you can see, this is a 24 hour, which then indicates when the date changes. So if we go past, you'll see the date change over. Let's keep going. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and boom, date change over. So that is how that works. Now, unfortunately, you do have to keep progressing forward to change the date. There is no quick set date, this predates that, and there's no miniature sort of hacking where you go backwards and forwards, because again, these jump hours don't quite have that feature, so do keep that in mind. But you've got a manually wound movement, a chrome plated case, which is showing some signs of wear, but overall very, very nice looking watch indeed. Again, circa 1970s. Let's show it on wrist and tall dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. A really cool watch at 36mm by 43mm lug to lug, 15mm thick and 19mm lugs. A little awkward on the lug length, but there are strap options. And again, I think this brown looks pretty cool, although a mesh bracelet could look kind of cool on this. So go check this one out on the website today. And last but by no means least, my favorite of the jump hours, and actually the most affordable, surprisingly, even though it's on a bracelet and everything. I think this is the bargain of the day. This is a Seiko. I'm probably butchering that, but let's take a closer look. And last but by no means least, we have my favorite jump hour on the table, and it is this Seiko really awesome Grand Lux 21 jewel manually wound jump hour. As you can see, you've got the running seconds that goes around in the center, you've got your minutes and your hours, and again, I'll demonstrate how it works as I have with the rest. As we progress time, the hour jumps over. Very, very cool, and I can't even get my words out. It's a very, very cool feature. That's all you need to know. And this is chrome just like the others. However, the condition of this one is wonderful. I'd say it's pretty close to new old stock. You've got the original case back. That is the original bracelet as well, which fits really nice. Again, the overall design of this one, you're going to be hard pressed to find something this cool with a jump hour in this kind of condition with a warranty, and that's an important part. You know, at this kind of price. So yeah, I really think it's cool. The reference is 6190, again a manually wound, and again circa 1970s. But let's show it on wrist and tall dimensions. And here we go on my just shy of 7-inch wrist. I'd probably need a link out and moving up the clasp to fit me, so it will fit a bigger wrist as well. But how good does that look? This is 38mm by 39mm lug to lug, 13mm thick and 26mm lugs. So it's a nice choice of the bracelet, but you will be able to put a strap on the watch as well. So go check this one out on the website today and pick this one up, because I think it's the best value on the table today, along with the Seamaster linen dial. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. 13 watches varying from all sorts. A really great drop. I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed it. I'm going to try and get this done as quick as possible, because as you can probably see, I am melting. It is ridiculously hot. I'm talking this much. It's only making me sweat more, so I do apologise if I look a bit like a mess at the moment. But hey, the watches are all good, and that's what you're here to see. So let's crack on. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you all again next week. Just keep in mind, as I've said, appointments are going to be daily, sort of by day basis, and they could be cancelled or rescheduled at short notice. For example, I've just been told we've got to go back to the hospital later today. So there you go, example given. I'm going to have to reschedule a meeting later. It's just the way it goes, unfortunately. Obviously, family always come first, and I would suggest the same thing to you guys and girls. Watches keep second, as great as they are, and as much as this actually pays for my bills and Danny's bills and keeps the business going, these will always be second to family. So I will see you all again next week. Take care.